Hi Aries, this is your homework family reading for August 1st through the 15th. Let me hit the bell so I can make sure that any negativity, let me get it purified, more or less. Higher. There's a reason I was asking for higher. Because before I start the reading, I'm already channeling the zodiac sign. So I already have a clue of what I'm getting because I already started channeling it. And I'm very agitated right now. My heart is going to, I feel like a pinball machine. So either you're very, very excited about something. And you're very excited about it, or you're very agitated and irritated or frustrated, overwhelmed. It could be a positive thing, it could be a negative thing. But at this point, like I said, this is for the 1st through the 15th of August as we approach the Lion's Gate and through the Lion's Gate. But as soon as I ask for Aries, my heart is just pitter, patter, pitter, 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 pitter. And I'm being given lungs. So this is either very excited, very moving forward, maybe not even moving forward, but just quick movement. Or it's agitated and it's actually in the long run being caused by grief. Either way, I'm being told, calm down some. Whether it's you're moving forward fast, good, or not, or you're dealing with some grief situations, because you do have Chiron directly across, because Chiron is in your Aries sign, so it is your universal first house, and directly across from it is Libra, and in Libra you have Haumea there, which is your collective consciousness, directly across from the wounded healer. So that is in opposition within that relationship house automatically, is what I'm seeing. And that could be stirring up some situations in general, bringing things to the surface of karmic returns of some form within the relationship. And the wounded healer is all about the wounds that haven't been healed, the wounds that can't be healed, the situation within that energy. And like I said, my heart is beating incredibly fast, but I am being told on the opposite side of that is this can be a very good month for you. This can be a very positive month, whether it's just you're excited now or the other. Because I'm being given the horse. I'm being given the horse, and I'm definitely feeling like, why I say slow down some. Slow down and really observe and pay attention is because more or less they just like throw me into a ground like an anchor. Boom. Like, get in your roots. Not just ground yourself, but like root yourself is what I'm being given. And then I'm being given the horse, which stands for being grounded. Stability. It also stands for finding that freedom, your personal freedom within that. But like I said, I'm being given the lungs, which makes me have a little bit of a warning of either overacting, overdoing something, and if you're not doing it, it may be affecting your health in one way. And if it's grief, then that's definitely the reason. That would be secret sorrow, shame, within relationships. They could be definitely dealing with grief within that, which could be in the long run affecting the heart. Because they are saying also it definitely has something to do with how you'll speak, your communication, your self-expression through this time. But like I said, I am being given the horse, so it is definitely telling you to ground yourself, find stability, anchor yourself, and then start to move forward and, I guess, thoroughly see. Slow down and then make sure you're taking care of you. I'm sure it'll start to show itself more in the, because they're giving me the energies of the heart right now. So, in some way or another, it's the heart chakra, the heart and the throat chakra, because the throat also does deal with the lungs. It's coming, in a way, it's dealing with the communication. So there's something going on here. Spirit also gives me Othala. They put it in my eyes. I did not pull runes. They just put it in my eyes. Othala looks like this. Okay? So I went and pulled it out of my book. Well, my book is so old it's falling apart. Othala is ancestral. It's property. It's your heritage. It's your homeland. It is the world of nature, world of nations, and it is earth. It is what is truly important to one, to the one. What is truly important. And how do you increase and make that into abundance? It indicates the importance of the big issues and the structured approach to them. The larger picture on the frame. Now, I say this all the time when I deal with Othala. Like right here. This picture right here. If you're looking at the picture, are you only looking at what's inside of the picture? Or are you looking at the entire wall? Are you only seeing the small part of the picture? Or are you seeing the whole picture? You may be only focusing on specific parts and you're not seeing the bigger picture, the bigger, broader situation. And this is what they're talking about. You need to be seeing the bigger situation. Othala speaks of the whole family, the security of the nation within that family. Like, say, if you were a tribe and you were the chief, you are looking after the nation of your tribe. So this would be the family. It may show the presence of the leader of the community, which also speaks as the whole. Like I said, the whole picture. It is the ruin of your sacred space. It speaks to you of that inherited wealth, that inherited property, and that inherited power. It is seeing the larger picture and being the true leader, or taking on that leadership. It is alliance based on powerful people linked by custom, alliance of base support, powerful alliance, which brings freedom to burn through your security so that you can strengthen that security. It is the strong leader, the sacred enclosed burial mound at the same time. Now, I know all that doesn't make a lot of sense to too many people. Some it makes perfect sense, but some it's kind of hard for you to understand that. It is those social boundaries. It is separating the different groups so that you can make sure that you have the secured environment there. I explain Othala a lot when I'm dealing with people. When I'm given it by spirit, Othala is this. This is the sacred space that can't be taken away. It is that inherited wealth, prosperity, and power. This is the soul. It cannot be taken away from you. And the only way you can lose any of its power is if you accidentally tripped up and gave it away. Go claim it back. It is the home of who and what you are now, before, and what you will be. It is the soul. It cannot be taken away. The only thing that can happen is you can accidentally misplace pieces of it. And when you do, and you acknowledge it, you go back and you claim it. Because it always was rightfully yours. Is what I'm being given when I speak of Othala in general. And they are giving me the throat chakra again. So this is definitely, it is lungs, but I feel like this is also dealing with, when I'm being given lungs too, this also sometimes depends on what you're breathing in. So if you're breathing in toxic energy, then you're breathing in that harmful energy to yourself. Sometimes we can't get away from toxic energy. I mean, let's face it. The world is what it is. Sometimes you can't fully get away from it. But if you've allowed it to become a bigger portion of your life, then you're breathing in that energy and it's causing more grief and problems within those chakras, that heart and throat chakra. And I just feel like I'm supposed to be saying this to you at this time. Something about this energy Whether it's the energy, being overwhelmed, being ready, really excited, or just agitated and don't know what to do. Something about all of this is telling you to ground yourself, slow down, and thoroughly see. Thoroughly see past just the picture. See the whole story. And allow yourself the truthful healing energy that you need and reclaim your power while you do it, because otherwise it's going to become harmful to you. It's something about that. It's just, I feel like I have to go there and say that. But they're saying that this could be a growth energy at the same time. So it's meant to be a positive thing. It is a positive thing. I just feel like you're coming into this energy as you start the month, or you've been in this energy as you start the month, and they're trying to help you get out of it. Now, from the 1st through the 15th, obvious, the first thing that we're going to be speaking about is there's the Lion's Gate, which is on the 8th, August 8th. But it is going to be having, I think the 6th and the 7th are having some very powerful days leading up to that Lion's Gate, which will also probably bring out some things that will rise to your attention at that point to help you make sure you're going in the right direction. And on the Lion's Gate, the moon prior to that, on the 6th and 7th, is in Scorpio. So it's definitely going to be bringing a lot of attention, emotional attention. Anything when the moon is in Scorpio, we feel to what I call the nines. I mean, if you're in happy, love, foo-foo land, then that's exactly where you are. Happy, love, foo-foo land. But if somebody has done you ugly, somebody has betrayed you, you know all about it and you are feeling it. You're like in your fire, with the betrayal. So I call Scorpio like a sexy Sherlock Holmes clue game, more or less. Because Scorpio is all about fertility, all about rebirthing. It is all about the mystery of life. But it is death to rebirth. And with that, it is dramatically attached to the emotions, whether they're good or bad. So we feel it incredibly intense. And I'm telling you, those few days before the Lion's Gate, you most likely are going to be feeling quite intense. Then on the Lion's Gate, after I believe 4:30 p.m., the energy moves into Sagittarius. So it will be starting to shift into that Sagittarius energy in the evening. On the 11th, you have a major powerful day too. The 11th is when Mercury moves back into Leo. Now remember, Mercury will have been in shadow because it just came out of retrograde on the 31st in Cancer. So it's going from Cancer, moving its way back to Leo, but it will still be in shadow up until about the 15th, roundabout. And when it enters, it'll be entering Leo on the 11th. Jupiter, on the very same day, is going direct. It's been in retrograde, which will then put Jupiter in shadow for a temporary little bit of amount of time. It will still be in Sagittarius, but it will be going, well, what about what I was trying to teach you while it was in retrograde did you not get? So let me kind of smack you a little bit with that stuff so that as we turn outwardly, maybe you do get it, more or less. Sagittarius being in, Jupiter being in Sagittarius, typically I've been saying is the higher self. And for you, because you are that universal chart, it is definitely speaking to your higher self on a higher level than the rest of us. Because you are that universal chart. You don't change. The rest of us only feel pieces of it. So you have on your higher energies, your higher self, you are communicating with yourself about where you're not quite getting right with the higher self, where you're not quite being responsible to loving you right and coming into understanding the authentic you and accepting it. Because it's dealing with your ethics, your morals, your spiritual urges, your higher learning, your religion, your philosophy, your psychic energy, your wisdom, and your rituals and your dreams. Like I said, on the 11th, it is going direct, but it will go through a shade at the moment of kind of darker energies, making sure that you're seeing what you have missed. Uranus goes retrograde on the 11th as well. So 8/11 is going to be a very powerful day, especially if you're just a sensitive, an emotional, spiritual, empathic, sensitive. You are going to feel all of these energies shift. Okay? Uranus is your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom. Speaking to your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, and Taurus about why can't I just create my heaven on earth and everything I want? And why can't things be the way I want them to be? And why can't I be seen the way I want to be? And find my self-worth, my self-value, my self-esteem in a creative way and bring it up. What are you not being true to you about? Because it will be speaking to you about that as it shifts. And prior to it shifting, it's going to be giving you some head notes about where you're not noticing this energy. Or you're not serving yourself well, so to speak. Where you're not teaching outwardly how to love you right. And it will be giving little warning signs, more or less, at that point, so that while it's in retrograde, it can teach you how to do it better. And like I said, Mercury is coming back into Leo. For you, Leo is that universal 5th house. It is where you find the pursuit of pleasure, where you find your creative expression in general. It speaks to you of your love life. It speaks to you of your hobbies, your habits, and dating, sex, and just enjoying life in general. But it also talks to you about the Leo energy, and it talks to you about within that compassion of yourself and others, and how to rule your life like so. Where are you not being a good king or queen to yourself so that you can create the life that you want? This is part of what's going to be coming up. And I'm kind of going around all of that because this is stuff I already know. Because they are definitely saying the Lion's Gate is definitely a powerful day. This is what you need to realize that most of the astrologers are not going to be talking about. Is bases are loaded in Leo, that universal 5th house. If you are going after your dreams, going after what makes you happy, experiencing you, expressing you in healthy ways, and getting closer to the authentic you that you probably didn't know existed by expressing that creative side of you, then you're probably feeling more excited and happy about this. If not, there are going to be cues pointing up. They're showing you what you need to be doing or where you're doing it wrong that's keeping you from getting there. Because the Lion's Gate is basing out of actually the 4th house because it deals with the Sirius star. But it's because of Leo that it happens. Okay, so that 4th and 5th house is incredibly important to you right now, whether you realize it or not. And the 4th house is speaking to your inner emotional security. It is the home. It is the roots. Like I said, they said root yourself. Root yourself. Find stability within it. And it's your personal roots, your personal foundations. It is your true, real self. It is also your upbringing. It speaks to you of your karmic lessons and how you reincarnate yourself. Well, if you're not happy, if you're not expressing yourself right, if you're not going after the things that bring enjoyment to your life because you're too freaking busy and you don't have time to enjoy yourself and life, then it is going to be affecting your inner emotional security. Because if you're not happy, you're definitely not feeling secure. And you're not getting to the true self of who and what you are, or the root of yourself. And I say this because you have the Guardians of the Pole. You have 2 of them technically in Leo. Then you have 1 in Gemini. And then you have the Sirius star in Cancer. And these 2 guardians are not going to allow just any willy-nilly energy to fly through that gate while the Lion's Gate is open. It is making you do your work. You have to ascend. You have to rise and come into that higher energy, which is speaking to you of addressing and moving forward within your inner emotional security and finding that enjoyment in life. And where are you lacking in it? So that you can find stability in being who and what you truly are and what you desire to express about yourself. Now, the Guardians of the Pole, like I said, you have 2 of them in Leo. The Guardians of the Pole and 1 in Gemini. They speak to you of 3 different planets all in one energy. It is the Sun, it is Venus, and it is Saturn. So it is extra sensitive to the positives and the negatives. It is extra illuminating into the very core of your energy in a form. And it brings up egotistical situations as well. Are you shining right? And then it brings up, what are the limitations so we can reset the proper boundaries? 2 of them are in Leo, 1 is in Virgo. But you have to understand, Leo also has the Sun in it. Leo also has Venus in it. So you just got triple illuminated about what makes you happy and what doesn't. What is your creative expression? What are your personal interests? Are you taking time to explore them and be them? And find your inner emotional security and who you are so that it drives the situation home. You also have Mars, which is your ruler, in Leo. And you have Jura in Leo, which is the sacrifice and commitment it's going to take to get you where you want to be. So passion, action, aggression, rules, walls, boundaries, limitations, sensitivities, illumination, ego, shine. All of this is going on in that 5th house. Pay attention to the details of what's being shown to you. And are you happy or not? And why? It will help you understand as you move through this Lion's Gate, because the Lion's Gate is the Sirius star, and let me just tell you, all month long, it is coming closer to the North Node. It's only 1 degree from the North Node, like 1.5 degrees from the North Node on the Lion's Gate. And the Sirius star speaks to you of God's consciousness, the illuminated teacher, or as I like to say, Thor's hammer. It's going to set things right. And if you're fighting it, it will fight you back. That's what the Guardians of the Pole are there for. This is in that universal 4th house, and the North Node is speaking to you about what you've got to get right in order to move forward. So you have to get this inner emotional security within self right. This is finding the roots of who and what you are. This is finding your personal foundation and your true self, your real self that maybe the rest of the world doesn't see, and helping it to rise, to reincarnate, to rebloom. This is a very positive energy that is coming forward to helping move us in a brand new positive direction. Gemini is that 3rd house where you also have the other Guardian of the Pole, and that is speaking to your communication house, as well as your siblings and your neighbors. But it is communication, and it begs you to pay attention to your emails, your phone calls, and details within those conversations, as well as deliveries. So that you are casting out what you want, more or less. Chiron is in your 1st house. So is Eris. Eris is Medusa. She's coming closer to that 2nd house where your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem is. She's coming closer. She's trying to slip into conversations with Uranus, which is about to go retrograde and go closer to her. She is trouble, toil, strife. She speaks to us of injustice. Listen to the conversation. This does not mean to act out into the trouble, toil, strife. It means pay attention to where the injustice was, so you learn not to make the same mistakes again, so that you don't trample on your own independence, individuality, uniqueness, and freedom, therefore lacking in your self-worth, self-esteem, and self-value. If you don't find yourself valuable, don't expect the rest of the world to. Chiron is the wounded healer going, oh crap, where did I set these boundaries wrong? Where did I start this cycle and make these mistakes? And let me back up and reevaluate it. Well, while he's backing up and reevaluating it, because he's in retrograde, he is speaking directly across to Libra, that 7th house, and having a conversation with the collective consciousness. The 7th house is every relationship in your life. It is speaking to you of your marriage, your partnership, your business contracts. It is your divorce, your separations, your lawsuits, your open enemies. I say all the time, if you have no money, you know about your lack of your relationship, how your relationship is not working well because of the lack of money. Okay, you have a relationship with any and everything you care about. When you have no car, you know all about your relationship with that lack of a car. Okay, anything you care about, you're dealing with what is the relationship? What does it mean to you? And this is exactly what it is. What is the value within these relationships? Because are they supporting you or not supporting you? Because they're in opposition with the wounded healer. And the wounded healer is trying to reset boundaries, reset new cycles that work for us by learning from where we screwed up the old cycles within those relationships. And like I said, we're remembering Uranus is about to go retrograde, Jupiter is about to go direct. Like I said, it's all over the board. We're talking about our higher self going, where did I make these mistakes? Uranus is going, where did I make these mistakes? They're just coming in different angles of trying to understand where you're skipping out on yourself and not giving yourself the proper value or worth, where you've let things slide. Old patterns, old addictions that we've created over time in our everyday mundane tasks that move against serving us now. But we have to acknowledge that they're not good patterns anymore. You have the full moon, which is taking place in Aquarius and moving into Pisces on the 15th. And that is the 11th and 12th house. This is talking to the community originally. This is the community moving up. Your community, your large groups. It is your memberships. It is your hopes, your dreams, your ambitions. It is how you truly find your self-realization within that outer community. But then it's also moving into the subconscious energies of that hidden self, of our unconscious actions, our self-deception. It is our self-undoing our bad habits, our bad addictions. It is our skeletons in the closet and where we left things dormant. Where, because we left things dormant, we're still suffering from the sorrow, the secrets, and the grief that we have not healed. Because that's what the 12th house is about, healing the secrets, the skeletons in the closet. You do have very positive energies, though. You do have all month, all 1st through the 15th, for the most part, you do have that North Node, and that Sirius star is getting along gloriously with Neptune, which is your 12th house. It is trying to teach you about the things that are the mistakes we've made, where we've held on to the grief, and what healings we need to make, but it's probably doing it by making things surface that you really don't want to deal with. But it is a positive thing if you are dealing with them and addressing it. It is bringing healing to it because it's speaking in a positive way of a sextile to both Uranus in Taurus and to Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. Asking you to make these changes. The only thing it's not getting along with is the higher self, because I don't know how else to say it. I'm going to say it for every sign. Get the hell out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone, because if you're in your comfort zone, you're not going to be moving forward. The comfort zone is you're making healing, but only in small increments. I'm still pushing away what I really don't want to have to deal with. I'm making healing on these. If I have 10 things, I made healing on 6 things. But those other ones were the really important ones. This is about really getting out of your comfort zone and doing the hard work to make yourself move forward, because this is speaking to your outer community of that 9th house, your 10th house, your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your professional career, the financial success and financial foundation of the people and whatnot that are in that world with you, the authority and the responsibility. Something in this outer world is where we've gotten good at putting a blindfold over our eyes, because that's where the North Node is. There's something in that outer world that is still trying to push us around and keep us from being our authentic self. And it's time to push back. But it's time to push back in a different way, by setting new rules, laws, and boundaries. Not by fighting. It is fighting, but it's fighting in a different way. It's changing those rules, laws, and boundaries. And Saturn is trying to understand who this person is that you are becoming, and how to create those rules, laws, and boundaries that support you in that outer community. So we're going through a little bit of a stagnant moment of stop, reevaluate, figure it out. Figured it out, now let me set them, and then start making the moves. More or less is what I'm getting. Like I said, I feel like it's very much a positive month, but I feel like you're coming into it, you know, a little agitated, a little worked up, a little overwhelmed, and you just need to take some you time, take some meditation time, take some clarity time, get grounded, but get grounded and figure out who the root of you is and what it is you truly desire and what you're after, and understand that there may very well be cord cutting that has to happen. There may very well be situations, because like I said, your Chiron, your universal first house of your self-awareness, is having a major disagreement with your collective consciousness in the relationship zone. So there are things in the outer community that have to shift or go. And it's because you've got to be right and true to you. I just got really dizzy. Okay? You guys are confusing me, made me really dizzy and everything, so I'm not counting any of that. Not counting any of that. Because I don't know exactly what you meant with that dizziness. Usually I can keep up, but I didn't catch that. It's just coming up a lot when I do readings lately. That's what the was. I'm getting the Queen of Wands. This is a positive energy. Technically, this is a fire energy, so this could be you. This is, you know, a strong temperament and forceful person. She is definitely bringing motivation and inspiration, but she can push it through. She's definitely not somebody who's going to take the shit. She's going to help you move the shit, so to speak. She is nurturing, she is loving, but she is definitely knows her power, knows her fire, knows her ground. And you see, the cheetah comes up over and over and over again right now. The cheetah comes when when the cheetah shows up for me, whether it's in the cards or not. The cheetah is talking to me about speed of changing our vibrational frequency. And as we change our vibrational frequency, we rise. We, in fact, are kind of changing our DNA, which changes our manifestation. But they are saying you are definitely dealing with your subconscious. This is the motivation that should be moving that subconscious, making the healing within the subconscious. This speaks to you of half of who and what you are not addressing. This is half of the weight that you are carrying. This is your nocturnal fears. This is what you lie to yourself about. The strength from the struggle. She is ready to pull you along. She is ready to change that DNA. She is ready to help you heal the situation. She is telling you also to have growth, but while you're finding this growth, do it through courage. Finding courage throughout your tranquility and creating strength. This is also speaking to us of the Two of Pentacles. This is bringing this love for self into into tangible reality, bringing yourself full circle. This could be a relationship, and the relationship coming full circle. You know, where you've switched places. You're truthfully seeing each other for who and what they are. You're being honest with each other. It could be equilibrium, though, within the companionship, or coming into a brand new balance of self, depending on what we're talking about. I am definitely getting growth in your ascension, is what they're also saying. This is the Nine of Cups, speaking to you of finding your inner peace as you're moving forward, feeling satisfied. So I feel like you're coming through this, you know, with shining colors, as long as you're doing your work. What shows up next is the Eight of Wands, which is another fire energy. This is interweaving that changing energy. This is also Induous. This is where your four become one. This is you creating that inner peace by working through, by having the courage, the tranquility, and the trust and belief in self to find your inner fire, to work through your emotions, through your inner depths, your skeletons in the closet, what you haven't healed from yourself, finding either a real true balance within a relationship or within yourself. And then this is, how are you interweaving it? You're finding satisfaction in that interweaving it, and you're changing it because the four have become one. This is your inner, emotional, mental, and spiritual, bringing them into all being in balance, activity, energy, and growth. And the only way you are not getting it is because if you're still holding on to what you're supposed to be releasing. If you are not doing your work, if you are not being able to let go of it, you're still holding on to that grief, then you're going to be getting in your own way. By spreading yourself too thin. This is about loving yourself. This is about loving yourself and taking the time to love yourself right, so you can show the world how to love you properly. This is speaking to you of, if you're chasing too many things and you're making too many people happy by trying to keep up with everything, when are you making you happy? This is how you lose yourself. Stop doing this. Because otherwise, you won't get any of what this is being told to you. I did not expect you to pop out. It's a new deck. It's called Ganesh. And I am still learning it, but for the most part, it's just the one word that comes with it. But apparently, Ganesh has a message for Aries. Look at reflection. Reflect upon the whole situation. Reflect upon where you want to be. Reflect upon life. Reflect upon where you are, where you're not. Reflect upon the truth. Take time for meditation. Really get deep with it. Because Ganesh is telling you, Ganesh brings us luck, for one. Ganesh has always been a great supporter. I don't know what it is. I have a lot to do with the Hindu gods. And Ganesh, thank you, for some reason loves me. And so he brings back a lot of energy for me. And he just said, sit down, ground yourself. Which is what they were saying with the horse. He says, sit down, ground yourself. He's telling you to look through your reflection at the looking glass. This is exactly what I'm hearing. Look through the reflection of the looking glass. This is the third dimensional. What has the third dimension been created by you? What have you created in that third dimension, and what you do not like? And if you don't like, it's time to change it, because you can have the achievements you want, but it is up to you to create them. It is up to you to make those changes. So sit down, he said. Sit down, slow down, and do what you need to do. And he's definitely talking to me about crown energy. Hold on. That one did just fly across the room. What did I just say? Concentration. I can't make it up. And the next thing is, honey, you're able to have all the love you want, including for yourself. Will you believe it? The world can be a loving place. But if you're staying in the toxic energies, then it's harder to rise. What else? Thank you, Ganesh. Fire. Trust your soul fire. Trust your soul fire, your inner passion, action, aggression. This is what I'm saying, that universal fifth house is illuminating for you, asking you, where is your creative expression? Listen to who you truly are, your authentic self. Set it free. Bring it to life. Help the world to see it. And don't be afraid to do so. Anything else from here? Communication. Everything always has to do with communication. Communication with yourself, communication with the outer community. It is coming out of retrograde. This is, like I said, I was being told details right in the beginning. Pay attention to the details within the communication. It can make or break the situation of what it is you are trying to create. You're confusing me. This is my little deck I tend to carry with me when I go places. And it doesn't talk as much when I do these readings, because it usually talks whenever I'm out in public a lot. This one is saying you may be feeling restless and burnt out. Nope. I wrote that one upside down. This is saying rest, relax, reflect. It is speaking to your sacral chakra. It is the Four of Swords. Rest, reflect, and relax. This is telling you to speak to your sacral chakra and to understand that it's all about how you feel about yourself. We're right back to that self-expression. And we are getting the Emperor. It's time to be your own emperor. Aries, you are the emperor in here. This is time to be loyal. In this deck, loyal to yourself. I like how each deck has slightly a little bit of different information. And sometimes it's very important that that specific thing came out. Is there anything left that we need to tell Aries to leave them on a high vibrational up note? Okay, that's like 6 cards. You know how I feel about that. Indifference. Some things are worth worrying over, but this is not one of them. Let go of the situation and reclaim your happiness. Reclaim your happiness that has been stolen from you from the past events. What was it saying the whole time? Go back and get it. You were given Othala right from the beginning. The only way it can be taken from you is if you accidentally gave it away. You have love. Before you truly love another, you need to open your heart and allow yourself to receive that kind of love first. If you open your heart, if you open your heart to love, it will flow into your soul. But it came upside down, which means some of you are fighting giving it a chance in the first place. And then, wonderful. Sometimes beginning too cautious is just an excuse. Sometimes being too cautious is just an excuse for being afraid to take a risk and to move forward. Do not use this as an excuse, for you will miss something amazing. Stopping right there. I think that's all that needs to be said. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the second part of the month. Hugs and kisses.